Hi guys, good morning. So, I don't know why, but starting a video is always a bit difficult for me. I get reports, and I feel in my own life as well at the moment that what's really coming up is a sense of extreme duality, the choice that I've spoken about before. The old consciousness, the diseased consciousness, versus the new consciousness being born. Of course, it isn't new, it's been there all along, but it was comatose almost, on a level where we couldn't really experience it in any obvious sense. It was there, otherwise we wouldn't be alive. We'd be in a state so bad, we can't even imagine that, but it's always been there, kind of keeping the show on the road. But the diseased consciousness has been in the driving seat, and we're very, very used to it. It's war consciousness more than anything. It thrives on polarization. It thrives on projecting outwards. It's your fault, I hate you. It thrives on vengeance. It thrives on judgment. It thrives on division. It thrives on resistance. It thrives on prejudice and intolerance and resistance and fighting against and destruction, control. That's its dominion. That's what this world shows you on a daily basis, isn't it? The other side, the new consciousness that's really erupting now, really coming up, showing itself to us, showing us this infinite possibility of transcendence and renewal, is a consciousness that doesn't engage with any of that. It really just doesn't. It has no need to do it, for it is not afraid. It isn't afraid. It isn't afraid to lose. It isn't afraid to be defeated. It isn't afraid to be crushed. It isn't afraid to be annihilated at all. It is, and it knows its own power. It knows peace. It knows surrender. It knows compassion. It knows love. And it knows that it can achieve anything. It knows that it can make the seemingly impossible possible. It can birth heaven on earth. That is what I feel. A lot of us, I feel, are actually dealing with energetic imprints from past lives. So I was shown a life where I was a monk. I don't exactly know when it was, but it was a long time ago, and it was a time of great darkness, great poverty of spirit, a time of great fear. Everybody seems to think it's the end of days and the wrath of God is everywhere. There's this perpetual, insidious fear of God. And there we are, these monks, wearing these really uncomfortable garments that are very grating on the skin. And we're cold, it's always cold, and the skies are dark all the time. And there's this road there, and there's people just passing by in absolutely terrible state. I've absolutely no idea when this was or what exactly was going on, but it was a very dark time. And we're there flagellating ourselves with these whips that I suppose you'd call a cat and nine tongues. And it's got these little metal barbs at the end of each leather string that rip open the flesh on your back, and these wounds become infected because the metal barbs are dirty and covered in blood and filth. And we're doing this because the notion is that if we punish ourselves, then God won't need to. So in order to avoid the wrath and punishment of God, we punish ourselves. And I was showing this very clearly. And it also came to me that we, us here now, are doing exactly that. We are so habituated to punishing ourselves so that when stuff comes up, it could be a desire for vengeance, because you see what's happened in this world, you see what's going on. It brings on such rage, which comes from woundedness, which comes from pain, which comes from the belief that, oh, look what evil is doing, and there is nothing I can do to stop it or change it or heal it. So that's fear and that's rage and that's grief, and it really comes up. And you then turn around and beat yourself up for having that feeling, for feeling that rage. So you resist it. And it becomes stronger, and and then you end up projecting it outwards, because you cannot contain it. You cannot. You don't know how to deal with it, so you reject it. This is not of me. This is wrong. I mustn't feel this. I mustn't think this. And the only thing you can do with it then is to project it outwards, because there is a need for vengeance. Because you're in so much pain that it needs an outlet. It needs to be expressed, but you're not expressing it because you're feeling bad for having that feeling, for having these thoughts. And let's remember, people, a lot of it isn't our own. There's a lot of past life imprinting going on here. Life after life after life in this matrix that has thoroughly traumatized us, and we're full of these imprints, implants, blockages, programs, trauma. It's not just from this lifetime, it's from many lifetimes. And throughout all those lifetimes, we have dealt with it a certain way. This means I'm a bad person, I shouldn't think this way and I shouldn't feel this way. I better punish myself to avert the wrath of God. And just like I did then, we saw devils and demons absolutely everywhere. Oh boy, it was appalling. Somebody had a weird looking mole. Witch, you know, it was really like that. It was a time of great darkness and great ignorance, terrible persecution and fear. Unbelievable, really bad. And that programming is still there. That trauma is still there, lingering. We need to get to grips with it within us. It has to be faced and acknowledged and felt and acknowledged, but not to go into it and then act it out and project it outwards. Because a lot of us feel that sense of vengeance. Vengeance is it's a key player, I feel, in all of this. If only I could smash those bastards and destroy them, I would feel better. I've had this in my life quite a bit, being a Scorpio ascendant, believe me, I know all about that. And there's been a few moments in my life, not many, I have to be honest, actually, because I've always had a good sense of knowing that, no, that's not going to work, but there's been a few instances where I've exacted vengeance. thinking it was going to help me and make me feel better. And it would set the record straight, as it were. Well, it didn't do any of that. Actually, it made me feel even worse, because I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I'd just put more darkness into the equation. I'd fed the evil monkey. So I learned that no, this doesn't work. Vengeance is no good. But it's very addictive. Not for everybody. I think, again, those of us who have suffered severe trauma, perhaps in many lifetimes, but here, in this particular lifetime here now as well, there is that sense of, I'm going to get those fuckers. And once I do, I will start feeling better. But you see, you never will. See, the thing is that those who have hurt you, those who have hurt me, did it, for the most part, unless we're dealing with absolute evil psychopaths, and let's put that to the side just a minute, just people like my mother, for example, who made my life an absolute misery. True. But I can totally see why, because she herself had a terrible childhood. Her parents had terrible childhoods. There was terrible poverty. There was a great deal of religious, fear-based indoctrination. There was all kinds of shit going on. And these people were really dysfunctional. They weren't evil. And I struggled with that for many years. But I've learned to forgive, because I've also realized that I myself have hurt people. I've hurt people. My own behavior has been to the detriment of others. And so I bring myself back to that, not to guilt trip myself, no. But I do that to help myself understand again and again and again that those who trespassed against me were trespassed against too. And they didn't do it because they were evil, but because they were really, really wounded people, full of rage and full of crap that they had no idea was there. And they were just stuck in that prison of the virus consciousness, acting that out. Catch-22. Thinking they were doing the right thing. You know. This harks back again to the dysfunctional navigator, which lies at the heart of it all. Forgiveness is very important, but until you've addressed your own woundedness, your own fear, you won't be able to forgive. Because you still hate them and you still want vengeance, you still want to destroy those fuckers who did it to you. This is a very big mechanism, I feel. One that is the perpetual downward spiral. Vengeance. And again, this won't play out for everybody. Some people don't really seem to, well, they don't exhibit it. It's probably there, but it's buried deep down in their subconscious. I don't know. But it certainly has been for me. It's been a big one. And understanding that they are sick, that they are not well, and also looking at your own behaviour through the past and realising that, hey, you've done the same, you've done that too. It does help you put it into perspective. If you can forgive them, and I don't mean forgiveness as saying, oh, what they did was right or good, or it ought to be tolerated. I don't mean that, not at all. But forgiveness as in, I can understand they did it because they weren't well. What they did was completely wrong. And I feel really angry about it. And I'm just going to be there with that anger and accept that. But I am going to let this go. I'm going to forgive this. For they know not what they did. For I knew not what I did. And if I can forgive them, then I can forgive myself, by the by. And that is the antidote, people. Not vengeance, but forgiveness. It's a tough one. I know, it's a tough one. It will trigger a lot of people. Because again, we're told that forgiveness means giving the dark side power. It means being weak. It means letting them do it to you and forgiving them and being a perpetual victim. And no, that's not what it means. Actually, vengeance, this I'm not going to forgive and I'm going to get those bastards, is what keeps you trapped perpetually in that cycle and in the matrix, because that is what mass consciousness is all about. It wants to keep us trapped in this nightmare reality. And mass consciousness is what keeps us stuck here. It's like the super glue of darkness. And energetically speaking, what's going on right now is that there's a massive shift. The new consciousness is coming up more and more. And the old consciousness, the hijack consciousness, the virus consciousness, is putting up a fight. It doesn't want to die, see? So it's all getting very intense. Yeah, it's very intense. There are times where it gets overwhelming and it seems to take over for a while. And when you find yourself in that space, then scream, let it out. Go somewhere where you can scream. Find some place in nature, you know, or outside the local cop shop. Yes, and just stand there completely naked and scream. Not a good idea, probably, but yeah. Go out there. Here I would go up on the moors and I would scream. Failing that, you can't do that for some reason, then just get something that you can hit, but get it out of your system, people. Get it out of your system and you'll feel better. There are other times where you're able to feel it and witness it. Your true self facilitates, as it were, and it sits there and it says, yes, this is how I feel, this is what's going on. I'm remembering past lives. I'm feeling those energies. Wow, I was there, I did that, they did that to me. I was burned at the stake. Oh, I did that to myself. All that plays out here. And you can feel it and witness it and let it go. It always comes down to the choice, always again, to be aware of this emerging, the birth or rebirth rather of that pure holistic consciousness, that which will bring about this reset. And the reason that everything's so intense right now is because that is really happening now. Something is shifting in a big way and I can really feel it. And it makes me feel excited and it makes me feel, you know, what's the word? Oh, it makes me feel like my memory might come back one of these days. That would be cool. Yeah, it makes me feel optimistic. But I also know that it means doing the hard work. I also know that it means stopping, putting an end to the blame game. Yes, we know about the evil deeds. We know about the psychopaths, the reptilian overlords, call it what you will. We know that, but you know what? There's nothing we can do about that. Not really. And I'm not saying we should love them. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that countering darkness with love is perfect. It's the ultimate antidote. Love is the only energy, the only type of consciousness that's going to fix this shit. I know this. And I spent a long time being, like I say, being a conspiracy researcher. And more now, I'm just done with that. I'm finished with that. I no longer want to give it my continued attention. I no longer want to be sucked into the drama and the desperation and that doom-laden sense of look what evil is doing and how big and powerful it is. Because I'm sick to death of it, frankly, people. I really am. It hasn't fixed anything. It just makes me feel like absolute shit. And it feeds the darkness. I'm going to start focusing more and more now on what I can contribute to the return of the light here and now, because that is where the sacred work is leading me, and that is what I'm here to do. That is my sacred purpose. That is my soul's purpose here now. And part of that is to continue on with this shadow work. Part of that is to continue sometimes enduring and letting it out and letting it be. Knowing that, yes, I have every reason to feel that way. Man, oh man, I've been through so much. Sometimes I'm able to witness it, facilitate, sit back and release and release and release. And it's a lot easier and more in the flow. But it can get very intense, people. And when it does, fear not. For you will get through it. We always do. But yes, vengeance is one to look out for, people. It is a massive trap. One that promises ultimate fulfillment, but never ever delivers, people. It never delivers at all. It just makes you feel worse. And be aware of playing the blame game. Whether you're dealing with NPCs, virtual people, whether you're dealing with out and out psychopaths, sociopaths, feeders, walk-ins, another interesting element to all of this, whatnot. The power ultimately lies with us. Whatever somebody does, whatever somebody says, use it. Use it creatively. Use it. What is this? What is this bringing up for me? I feel victim. I feel like a victim. I want vengeance. I want to destroy that motherfucker. All this stuff. And purge it and work through it and alchemize it and harmonize it and do the best you can with that. Sometimes you endure as best you can and you let it out. But do not feed into it. Do not feed into it, because that is why these things happen. It is just the system, the matrix, the dark generator trying to get you to stay stuck in the hijack consciousness. Ultimately, that is where it lives, and hey, it wants to live. So let's not feed it because we're helping it to live. We don't want to do that, do we? I have to say that, yes, there have been what some people would term attacks of that sort of kind. There has been dark generator shit going on. There have been weird, sketchy thoughts that were not my own. There has been a great amount of overwhelming emotions, of rage, of vengeance, of all kinds. All of that I have. All of that I've traversed. And somehow there is grace, and it helps me to utilize it for healing, for the sacred purpose, you see. We can all do that, but it has to be a choice. It's an interactive thing, people. We're not passive doormats. That is the old way, where the dark side had all the power and just funneled itself through us, and we just let it and just became its minion. We're not needing to do that now. We are strong enough and wise enough to recognize what it is, when it is, and how to navigate this using the sacred feminine principle of wisdom, patience, courage, compassion. Because anything else will feed the darkness. We all pretty much know what's going on. And no doubt there are still going to be angles and nuances of this left for us to discover and to acknowledge as having taken place or taking place back then, now, here, whatnot. And when that comes up, it is important to say, yes, I see that, true. But we need to learn now to really get going with the disentanglement, people, because otherwise we're just going to be stuck here, and we don't want that. We all want out. We want out. We're so desperate for that, so thirsty. It's like we've been in the desert for 100 years and we've not had a drop of water. But the water is here now, so let's drink. And I'm doing this video as much for myself as I am for everybody else, because as always, I am just like you. You are just like me. We are doing this. We are going through this stuff, each and every one of us in our own individual way, with our own different nuances and different nebulous experiences and our own ways of handling it and purging it and witnessing it and enduring it and whatnot. But we are all staying the course, and we're doing the very best that we can, which is all we can do, and it is always good enough, you know. So, because I watch my own videos, because it's like, wow, Anika, you're so wise. Not feeling very wise now, are you? So that's it. I feel rather, because again the mind cannot really go there. The mind is the comfort zone, you know, the shadow mind. The mind just wants to keep doing things the way it has always done things, and that is not going to work. But it creates cognitive dissonance. It creates this deep sense of discomfort, because when I surrender and when I forgive, that's like saying to the dark side that, oh, okay, then go ahead, do whatever you like to me, and I'm not doing that. See, that's what comes up. It's deeply, the navigator is deeply mistrustful of the feminine principles way. It thinks that the road of the least resistance will lead to doom. You see, so that's why all that comes up. It doesn't. The road of least resistance, the road of surrender, of forgiveness, of compassion, leads to transcendence. I know this because I've experienced it. But I know how tricky that shadow is, that navigator. I know how resistant it is to leaving that comfort zone. See, that's trauma-based mind control for you. It's a trap. You see, no, you've got to keep doing it like that. Even though time and time again, you'll see it doesn't work. It just creates more of the same. And I'm just keeping the virus alive. So it's a bit of a process, people, so we need to be very compassionate and very patient with it. And just, like I say, if you fall over, never mind, get back up, dust the shit off, get back on with it. Keep on getting on. Just keep doing it. Don't give up. And we will win. Love will triumph. I know this. I see it. I see how the power of love is magical, how it transforms seemingly impossible odds, and yet, wow, it works out. That's incredible. I mean, what happened to me in July and August was, I thought that was it, I was finished, and no, it all, and it brought me some truly valuable gifts, and it did that because I was able to find a point of surrender at times, and at times I just had to endure this overwhelming sense of darkness, and I had to feel that rage. And there is a lot of rage, people. There's a lot of trauma here, a lot, you know, but we are navigating really quite well, despite being so hampered by, you know, the virus and its attempts to stay alive. We're doing so well, and I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so proud of all of you. So let's keep on getting on. And let's just not give up, and let's be aware of that vengeance thing, because I feel very strongly that is coming up a lot for a lot of people. Vengeance! it won't serve you. It will be to your detriment. It will be to my detriment. So let's see that for what it is. I think that's about it for today. And yeah, lots of love to all of you.